It's December 2nd, and we are in day 2 of the Commonwealth versus Brian Walshe. Yesterday, we heard Trooper Proctor's voice on a recording, and we listened to a lot of recordings of Brian Walshe's interviews with law enforcement during the time when he was telling law enforcement that his wife had gone missing. She had gone to Logan Airport to commute to work and had just never shown up, including telling law enforcement that his oldest child, 6 at the time, had said goodbye to her in the morning and seen her get into a car. So today we are resuming with those audio interviews during the time when Brian Walshe was saying his wife was missing. And I'm saying that because, well, in opening statements, his defense attorneys said, yeah, no, so he lied to police. She spontaneously died, and so he went to get into bed early in the morning on New Year's Day after being at the home with her and friends on New Year's Eve, and he went to get in the bed with her, and she was non-responsive, and he nudged her and then nudged her so hard she fell out of the bed, and then he freaked out and didn't call police and started Googling things like, can you get DNA off of a knife, and how long until a body starts to smell. So their defense is going to be, well, he did all the other things, but he didn't kill her. And if that sounds like Robert Durst to you, well, I mean, it worked for him. So I don't know if that's what's going to happen in this case. I still wonder if we're going to hear him argue, well, I saw what went down with Karen Reed, and I wasn't going to call these police. However, we don't see a single Google that we've heard of, and the defense, I think, would have brought it up in opening, of what could have caused spontaneous death or what could have caused this and that. Hey, Law Nerd, just a quick second to tell you about something that is making my morning routine faster. And when we are in trial, I am looking for all of the simple multitasking, get me onto stream sooner products that I can find. And Jones Road Beauty has been integral in my makeup routine. The Miracle Balm palette is now my absolute go-to that comes with me on the road. And I love that these ingredients are not only clean, easy to use with the fingers, and very buildable. And Jones Road launched their holiday collections on November 6th, and these 5 limited edition sets are so much fun. So it's time for makeup products that are actually good for your skin. Jones Road has you covered. So Law Nerd, if you're ready to try it for yourself, this holiday season is the perfect time to simplify your routine with makeup that's clean, strategic, and multifunctional. And you know you don't want to miss out on their limited edition holiday sets because they won't be here for long, and once they're gone, they're gone. Plus, just for our listeners, you'll get a free cool gloss with your order when you use code LAWNERD at checkout. So just head to jonesroadbeauty.com and use code LAWNERD at checkout to get your free cool gloss. And after your purchase, if they ask where you found them, let them know it was from the Case Briefs and the Emily Show. Now let's get back to today's brief.
Sergeant, what did you do on January 9th in this matter?
I went to 300 Forest Street in Peabody.
And about what time did you get to 300 Forest Street in Peabody?
Around dusk.
And why were you there?
We had collected 2 dumpsters from the apartment complex at 330 Paradise Road. Those were transported to a
I think this is near where his mom lives.
transfer, like a trash transfer station in Peabody for examination. We had dumped the contents of the dumpsters in the warehouse, and we began searching the bags, bag by bag.
And why were you doing, so what would you do?
2 like apartment complex dumpsters searched bag by bag in the trash station warehouse.
With the bags when you searched them bag by bag?
The contents of the bags were opened. It was spread out on the ground. We'd look at the contents, see if it was important. If it was, those were moved to like a tarp or plastic or paper sheeting where they could be documented, photographed, collected as evidence.
If the Commonwealth could...
You laid them all out and documented them piece by piece?
So, Sergeant, what are we looking at here as far as the process that you were describing?
So this is right when
This is right when it came out of a trash bag.
and one of the bags was opened for examination. The contents was dumped out so we could look at it.
And if we could go to Exhibit 52, which is file 6867. Now, what are we looking at here in relation to the previous photograph?
Those are the contents moved to like tarp and plastic and paper sheeting so they could be further examined.
And the boots, do you know what brand those are?
Hunter boots.
And Ms. Gilman, is it possible to zoom in on the white piece of paper underneath the purse?
The hunter boots are better pictured in the other picture. The color is better. Boots, the boots, Ms.
Sergeant, did
Gilman.
you see that white piece of paper that night?
Nope.
I did.
What
the
was
COVID
that?
card.
That's a COVID-19 vaccination card with the name Anna Walsh on it.
You've learned in your investigation of this case, haven't you, that the searches that you were asking Mr. Walsh about at that time, those searches were not, in fact, conducted on the mini iPad that was associated with his son.
What?
Yes, they were synced to that, but they did not occur on that iPad, is my understanding.
Right. So now your investigation was able to determine that whoever conducted those searches, of course, your investigation revealed that it was Brian Walsh. He never used his young son's mini iPad to conduct any.
Smart line of questioning, Tipton. I don't think he's going to go after MSP in the way that we might think after the Reed case. I think he is trying to show the jury, look, he is not monstrously using his 6-year-old's iPad mini to evade detection. It was cloud synced through whatever the iCloud account is. So it's trying to distance Brian Walsh from the additional distastefulness of him going and grabbing his kid's iPad mini out of the kid's bedroom and Googling the searches. And it might also be that in the interview, Brian Walsh was actually confused because he had done the searches like on his phone or computer, not on the mini. I don't know if that helps given what the searches are, but it might. So we are at the morning break. We finally got through the rest of Brian Walsh's recorded interviews up to the interview where he, being at his attorney's house, was interviewed as they were searching his home with Anna Walsh and then confronted him about searches on the iPad mini, or the mini pad as it was called during cross-examination. So during that, he was confronted about searches when they downloaded the iPad mini that came up for things like 10 best ways to dispose of a body. And then in cross-examination, we learned that actually those searches were not conducted on the iPad mini, but they were synced to the iPad mini. And now Trooper Guarino's on the stand, and I think we're going to hear more about that because the defense, I think, did a good job in cross clarifying that Brian Walsh was not taking his child's iPad mini and searching these things up. It's synced from another device. And in that questioning did say, searches that were conducted by Brian Walsh, and conceded that those searches were conducted because that's part of their argument, is that Brian Walsh did not murder his wife, but once he discovered her deceased, he freaked out and then started Googling what to do. It doesn't seem that he Googled found wife unconscious, non-responsive, who do I call? Because I imagine the Google would just return call 911, but those weren't the searches that he made. He immediately went to, well, I know that she's deceased, so now how do I dispose of the body?
Using the parameters from the search warrant from December 25th of 2022 to January 8th of 2023, were you able to compile the Safari internet search history from the MacBook, which was labeled in your lab as item number 3?
Yes, I was.
And were you able to create a physical printout binder of that?
Yes, that's what this is here.
What is the title on page 596, record 2185?
Best ways to dispose of body parts after murder. Yahoo search results.
Best ways to dispose of body parts after a murder. That's real specific.
Best ways to dispose of body parts after murder. Yahoo search results.
What is the time and date?
January 1st, 2023, 11:28:43 a.m.
What is the title on page 597,
That's a
record
specific Google or Yahoo search.
2189?
6 ways to dispose of a body. Dash murder, murder, murder.
And what is the URL?
www.murdermurdermurder.com/blog.
What?
2017, 522, 6 ways to dispose of a body.
What the
What is the
fuck
time and date?
January 1st, 2023 at 11:28:47 a.m.
What is the title on page 647, record 2351?
Wait, want to get away with murder? ? Use special detergent / Discover magazine.
And what is the time and date?
January 1st, 2023 at 12:18:03 p.m.
What is the title on page 650, record 2364?
Is it better to throw away crime scene clothes or wash them? Google search.
And what is the time and date?
January 1st, 2023 at 12:21:39 p.m.
He's very busy.
What is the title on page 657?
Notice crime scene.
Record 2386.
How to use hydrogen peroxide on bloodstains? Google search.
What is the time and date?
January 1st, 2023 at 12:48:14 p.m.
What is the title on page 735, record 2638?
If Taylor Shabusiness pops up in any of this, I'm going to fall over.
Can you be charged with murder without a body? Google search.
That's
What
the
is
one.
the date and time?
January 2nd, 2023.
That's the one that's going to make his argument difficult. That's the one. There's a lot of these that you could see the defense arguing it was an accident, it was a this, it was a that. She died, he freaked out, he was just getting rid of the body. But that Google search, that one is going to make those arguments more difficult for the jury to believe.
What is the title on page 738, record 2647?
Murder conviction without a body - Wikipedia.
What is the date and time?
Yeah, you can have a no body
January
case.
2nd, 2023, 12:47:10 p.m.
So we were at the lunch break of day 2 of the Brian Walshe trial. And in really the most tedious fashion, I think possible, they have been going through the Google searches and websites visited by Brian Walshe with Trooper Hot Mike Guarino, who we saw twice in the Karen Reed case, and you might be familiar with his name from also the Sandra Birchmore case. But we have not gotten to cross yet. I don't know how much cross-examination we will get into these Google searches, if they are going to contest the times of the Google searches, or if the defense is just going to double down on, well, what were the searches before January 1st? And from what it seems from direct, the Google searches before January 1st were on Pornhub regarding a cheating spouse, and were getting into the credit card statements and looking at divorce, best states to divorce for a man, and divorce laws, Washington, D.C., et cetera. Those are the things that were happening in the end of December leading up to January 1st. After January 1st, the searches were vacillating between missing spouse, can I still use their credit card, missing how long to inherit, and how to get blood out of a floor, and murder.com, and 10 ways to dispose of a body if you really need to. Hacksaw, the best for dismemberment, and then Googling dismemberment cases, and things like, can you still be charged with murder if there's no body? Yes, you can. And here we are. So it seems that Brian Walshe, through the Google searches, was contemplating how to get rid of his SIM card, how to get rid of the hard drive on his computer, if the FBI can get to your phone, if your Google searches can be found if they don't have your computer. He was contemplating these things. And alas, we have all of these Google searches. So I'm interested to see what the cross-examination holds after lunch, and it seems that they are going through the full court day.
So it could be the fact that to get more specific information about, for instance, how to dispose of a body, you would then have to add another search term like murder
If you really need
to
to.
get more specific information.
I don't know if I would have thought of this line of questioning, gotta be honest. So to find the right results, if you really don't want them to give you like, call the coroner or call the paramedics, you have to add a term like murder so that you actually get results to help you illegally dispose of a body. So it doesn't give you these results like call a mortuary. Look, he's just trying to throw out plausibilities. Is that going to fly with the jury? I don't know. But hey, you got to get more specific to get the information that you need. It doesn't mean that anybody committed a murder because they're going to murder.com. I mean, that doesn't mean murder happened. It just means you might need a more specific search. You got to admire the man for trying. They have moved through this case quite expeditiously. It seems that counsel on both sides are communicating well with each other, though I think there are probably more engaging ways to present the digital evidence. I have to give grace to counsel because I don't know how much Guarino could have presented that evidence better. We have seen some great law enforcement tech experts, and then not. So I don't know if he could have presented that differently. I was really surprised on cross to hear him describe the fact that he turned over 3,000 report items and didn't do a report at all, didn't summarize it at all, no Scrivener's errors. So counsel walking him through this report number, this information might be all that witness can do cleanly, because his defense was asking him questions. He's like, I really don't know. I would have to just look at the paper. I can reiterate what's on the paper. That's about all we've got from Guarino, which is unfortunate as cases become more and more tech heavy for Norfolk DA's office. This is going to be an ongoing and challenging problem for them to have an expert that can't well describe the difference between an iMessage and an SMS text message, or what a redirect is vis-a-vis a search suggestion. It's really I know how to use the gray key, and so I download it, and then I just turn over all the paper. So that's frustrating. But the defense is continuing, I think, in cross-examination to focus on the areas where they can make a little room and just leave the rest of it alone. Don't touch it and make it messier. And ending the cross-examination again today for Tipton with, but there was nothing before January 1st, because the defense's hurdle in this case is to have the jurors question whether this was a premeditated first-degree murder, or whether something else happened and the defendant freaked out. And so, yes, he disposed of her, but he did not kill her, and he did not decide in advance. And I mean, premeditation can happen quite quickly, but he did not decide in advance to kill her. So he walks through those questions in his cross-examination with, You didn't see these searches before January 1st. And it's what they have to work with, because as we went through all those Google searches, you're getting additional Google searches with some really difficult phrases to overcome, like, can you be charged with murder without a body? It seems that the prosecution will be arguing that that is consciousness of guilt, where after the fact, he's now wondering, well, is it better if I just get rid of the body? And does that give me some type of advantage? So I'm interested to see if the cross-examinations continue to end on, but there's nothing before, and how the defense will bring that together in closing, and whether or not Brian Walshe will testify, which I think he kind of has to if this is their defense, and if he will just blow up his own case a la Alec Murdaugh, who we're going to have to talk about on the podcast soon, but that is not for today. And I think the defense is doing well with the facts that they have. I mean, you are seeing good lawyering and a non-dramatic, well-run, it seems, courtroom. It's been 2 days and things have proceeded without any drama. For all of the facts of this case that are horrific, the courtroom is running in a refreshingly normal and professional fashion. And it's nice to see. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss updates on your favorite cases, you're going to need the LawNerd app at lawnerd.app.com. That way you can stay in the loop on the cases that matter most to you, and you never know when you're going to catch feelings for a new case. So make sure you get it for free on iOS and Android. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being a Law Nerd.